Hello, hello. It is day 227 of my 365-day raw suspending disbelief journey. It is December 5th, 2024. And today was a rough day. Just sort of everything not going according to plan. So, at least for most of the day, it was my daughter woke up with a fever last night. She actually, she was coughing so hard that she gagged and threw up. And then this morning she woke up with a fever. And today was the winter carnival at the elementary school for my two youngest, and they were really excited to go to that. So she was really upset to be kept home, and just sort of this constant pivot, shift. Things are changing. None of the plans are sticking kind of a day. So when I say rough, that's what that's mostly about. I also had some kickback on the fact that I have not been able to show up daily on this podcast, and um, I personally think that it's completely reasonable as a 365-day project that there's going to be a few slips where I do not manage every single day. I think that I'm unreasonable enough in expecting it of myself to do a daily podcast. Like, it's a lot. It's a lot of work. So for anyone listening to this and judging that it's not been a perfect flow, that it has, I've had my gaps in time. There's been times where I had kept recording every night but not been able to get the episodes posted. And then there's been a couple of times now where I've had a longer gap and not been able to do the daily episodes and all of that. And I got a lot of kickback about that tonight after a frustrating day. So that was super frustrating. And I am not ever in any universe going to apologize for not being able to maintain this on a daily basis. It is a huge undertaking. It is a lot of work, and it is a lot of vulnerability. And it is not an easy thing to do, no matter how easy I may make it seem. So I just needed to put that out there. This is not nothing. And I am proud of myself for how far I've come. I'm proud of myself for still doing this at the 226-day mark. And I have zero doubts in my mind that I will make it to 365. And I absolutely count having made it to 365, even if I combine some episodes now and then. So, all of that being said, I am trying to be more consistent with it because the daily reflection is so helpful. It's so powerful. But that doesn't mean that when I'm not doing the daily reflection at the end of the night, that I'm not thinking about suspending disbelief during the day, that I'm not choosing my mindset, that I'm not choosing to feel what I want to create, that I'm not doing all of that, because I am. I'm doing that constantly. And there have been very few, if any, I don't want to say if any, I'm sure they were there, more of them towards the beginning of it, where I was forgetting to suspend disbelief, or where I was forgetting to choose those mindsets, to choose my thought patterns, to choose what I was going to take in and what I was going to accept, and all of it. Like, I'm being very intentional. And actually, my word this year, my word of the year for 2024 was intentional. And I have been that. I have done that. And I'm really proud of myself for that. And there's, as much as I hold myself to, the diamond standard, and I'm always expecting a ton of myself because I have I set the bar really high for myself. I also have learned to give myself a ton of grace. And while I do crazy amounts of things, while I sign myself up for too much, and while I am, always trying to do so many things at once, and I do expect good quality out of myself, that doesn't mean that it's not okay for me to have a slip, for me to fall off the wagon for a minute, or or a day or a week or 3 weeks. I don't care. None of that makes me wrong or bad. What actually is the marker of the kind of person that I am is the fact that I got back on, the fact that I came back and I owned my shit, that I said, I know that it's been a while, but I am still here and I am still committed to doing this. I'm not giving up and I'm back. And that's not something that everybody would do. Not everybody would show up and say that. Some people would feel too ashamed and hide and give up. And I'm not doing that. So I really needed to address that today, because if one person is thinking something, I find so are others. So there's my addressing that. I'm absolutely not angry with myself for slipping up. I had every reason in the world. And it was more than reasonable for me not to, in both cases, the 15-day and the 5-day gaps of the last couple of episodes, have fallen off for a few days and had a pause and not been able to bring myself to record, or been too dead tired on my feet or whatever to bring myself to record and complete these episodes. But I'm still here and I'm still doing it, and I'm still abso-friggin-lutely suspending disbelief. So I am looking at today with the eyes of no absolute knowledge that we manifest our reality, that we create our reality. And I'm asking myself the questions. I'm looking at this day going, okay, why? Why did it go like this? And I absolutely do believe that we manifest even physical illness, even problems in traffic, even, all the things that seem like they're outside of our control. We are absolutely manifesting those things. And I take radical responsibility for that. So looking at this day, I feel like I must have hit an upper limit again. I must have, and I do know that, what day was it now? Tuesday, I think. I did my new moon ceremony. The new moon was on Saturday, but I had, there's like a 3-day window on either side. And on Tuesday, I completed my new moon ceremony, which is my activation for the next step in my Moon Key program, which means, again, a big up level, a big surge of energy. And when there's a big surge of energy, a lot of the time it's not like it just gives me energy to do stuff. It's a big surge of energy that then knocks me on my ass. So I have been still functioning well and still, all of that. It didn't quite do to me what the first initial transmission did, but it was still an intensive up level. It was a big one. And I had some realizations with it, of that gave me sort of extreme clarity about my soul journey, I guess you could say. Whether you believe in past lives or, maybe knowledge from before you were born, even if you don't believe in multiple lifetimes, whatever it is that you believe, that awareness of having known something extremely powerful and potent and having had access to it previously was mind-blowing and shocking to me, and all of these things. So I feel like I've had a massive up level again. I've also been doing a lot. I've had a lot on the go. I've had programs running. I've had, all of these things going, and have been maintaining those and functioning fairly well, at home, everything sort of still being good. So I think, in a similar upper limit pattern, a similar similar topic. I don't know what to call it, but I feel like I probably absolutely manifested this day, manifested my daughter being sick, manifested the reaction to my podcast pause, the all of it, just all of it, the alignment. And when I talk about alignment, always, um, there's always things that fall away. And I'm not sure whether sometimes these reactions that come from people directed at me, that I do believe that I manifest, that I call in because something needs to come into alignment. I do, um, when it happens, I am forced to look at, okay, well, there's clearly something not right in that relationship, something not aligned, something is off. And that doesn't necessarily mean walk away from every relationship. It doesn't necessarily, um, but it does mean take a look. It means like something screwy there. And I'm not sure what that is yet, but, and a lot of the time when it's someone I don't know, it's like, uh, it's sort of more of a, a lot of the time I'm thinking like it's a them problem. Like it's not about me. It's about whatever they've got going on in their lives. Or maybe it was meant to highlight something that is a trigger for me that I can learn from, or, things like that. So I'm looking at it, I'm exploring it. I'm not going to dive too deeply into it because it's personal, but, and not just involving me. So I won't do that, in a way that, um, speaks about anyone else, right? As much as possible. Um, but I will absolutely admit to that radical responsibility of, maybe I hit an upper limit and manifested some resistance into my life and manifested some problems to have to deal with. And I mean, it just happened, right? It just happened where I lost 15 days on this podcast because I manifested a deep depression because I didn't know how to handle happiness. So can a day like this have been manifested? Absolutely. So I am, today was rough, but today was also like, I mean, I'm now, when there are rough days, I'm looking at it going, what's the lesson in this? What did I, not pay attention to? What did I not, allow myself to receive? A lot of the time that's that. So if I was manifesting something was maybe trying to come in, and I blocked it by manifesting problems instead. And instead of my attention going to what it needed to go to, it ended up going to solving these problems that were manifested. So, um, I do not believe that means that whatever that was gone forever. I believe that what's meant for us will always find us. But, um, I mean, it just makes me think that I need to sit with even a little bit more. Like, okay, what is it? What is this upper limit? What is it that I'm not believing that I can have? What is it that I'm not trusting that I'm able to hold, or, something along those lines? And then also looking at, with the specific problems that came up, if there's anything in a relationship, in a situation, or in a dynamic of any sort that, has been needing to be changed and I haven't been looking at it. And, that this might just be really good awareness as far as what that looks like going forward. And, I'll be honest, the frustration level from that sort of response to my slip on this podcast, um, has me in this like, I just don't even want to people, right? Like, I don't want to deal with people. I do not want to, like, how can people be so shitty sometimes? And I know that everybody has things going on in their lives. And I know that even I may have called in, that situation, but that doesn't make it feel better, right? Um, it doesn't make me happier about it. So it's still, wrapping up my day with that sucks. And that's just the truth, right? And that doesn't mean that everything else is not still good in my life. It's just right now in that moment, it feels like, why the fuck do I bother peopling? Why do I bother, trying to maintain relationships if people are just going to be cruel, if people are just going to be thoughtless and careless, but then expect me to be perfect. And, I'm sure that we've all dealt with that in our lives with somebody at some point. And I'm sure that you know what I'm talking about when I say that. So uh, it's just a crappy feeling, and it's a passing feeling. Whether relationships are dissolved because of issues that come up, or whether they are resolved because of the issues that come up. Either way, it is a passing thing. It is temporary, and healing will happen. Whether it's healing alone or healing together, healing will happen. And I do absolutely 10,000% suspend disbelief about that. I know that to be true. I believe that with every ounce of my being. And yeah, so trusting that today was meant to be, that today was how it's meant to be, that it was for my highest and best good in the end. And choosing to walk away from all of the things that I wanted to accomplish this evening and shut off and refill my cup, and again, suspend disbelief that my business isn't going to suffer because of that, that I'm still going to deliver amazing results with my clients, with and for my clients, and that I will eventually be able to catch up. um, and I mean, I'm not too worried about that. I have learned to trust that, but it's also, just another thing to add to the mix of, it's frustrating. It's frustrating when things like this happen, when days like this happen. There was a lot more. I don't want to go into every detail of the day. Nothing was like super horrendous in and of itself. It was just thing after thing after thing after thing after thing all day long of smaller things until the culmination at the end with this just shocking response to the podcast. So, yeah, I think that that's basically what I have to say about it today. I think that that's, where I'm leaving off. I'm choosing to suspend disbelief about walking away from all of the business tasks that I wanted to get done before bed. I am choosing to rest early, take my mind off of it, and bring myself back into a more positive, lighter vibration, and a space where I can process it in a healthy way so that I can have the outcome that is best for all, for myself and for everyone else involved. So that is what I have to share with you tonight, and I will talk to you all tomorrow.